welcome to Polymer Clay TV. I'm Kira, and today I'm going to show you how incredibly easy it is to create a pattern like this using just simple cane slices. Canes that you can make yourself or purchase and create patterns and sheets of clay that you can then use to decorate objects. Let's start. To accomplish making a cane fabric like this, you're going to have a couple options. So what I've done here is I've got some Sculpey Primo accents, and this is the bronze color rolled out. I've got some Primo Accents Peacock Pearl. This is one of my favorite colors, and I like this because it's a nice contrast. And I've got this leaf cane that I made a while back, and this is just a piece of it, medium size reduction, just lying around for me to do things with. So I've got a piece that I've reduced down pretty small and made into that leaf pointed shape. And I'm going to cut slices and just show you how easy it is to meld them all together and make your veneer. I can see I've got a little kitty hair in there, so I'm going to peel that out. So this is just white Primo, and that's one of the consequences of living with animals, all the little hairs that get in things. But I'm just going to use, for this you'll want a nice sharp blade. Okay, this is a tissue blade, and it's pretty stiff, it's pretty thin. If you have a slicer like the Lucy slicer or some of the other cane slicers that are on the market, you can use that. But I have pretty good luck just being really careful and making nice thin slices, just cutting down from the top. Around and point that out a little bit more. It's looking a little triangular. And just make a bunch of slices because we're going to use them, and you'll need quite a few. You don't have to use just one cane. Also, you could use, you could use lots of canes from your collection. One of the things that happens when you're slicing is you can start compressing the cane. So you'll see me pick it up and re-squish it and move it so that I'm getting nicely shaped slices that are consistent. Because as you slice, you can't really help it. You're sort of smushing the clay. I've got a good pile, so I'm going to work on the white piece first, because on this one I want to show you how to arrange your slices and really cover that whole piece of clay. So you'll just want to lay them on, and if you'd like to make a pattern, you can. If you want it to be random, you can do that. And for this technique, I would suggest that you use a background color that is present in the cane. So this cane was built on a monochromatic black and white color scheme, so a white piece of clay works fine as a background. I could also use black, but because my outlines of the cane are black, if I did that, it would sort of blend right into the background, and I wouldn't want that look, because then my work in making the lines of the cane would be sort of lost. So you just need to think about colors and think about contrast as you're putting it together. And you can, since I have a cane that is pretty directional, the leaf, I can either make them all come flowing out from a point, or I can flip them around like this to fill in the space. It's really up to you how you want your cane fabric to look in the end. You can leave little spaces in between, especially if you've chosen that background color that matches, or you can attempt to lay the slices on so that they completely fill the space. The choices here are up to you, how you want it to come together in the end. I think I'm going to attempt to fill in the space pretty fully. So I'm just going to keep laying these on. And you can see they're They're very thin, and I'm putting them fairly close together and in some cases even overlapping them. As you start filling your sheet of background clay with the canes, something to think about is that when we start rolling this to flatten it out, it's going to be stretched. So depending on what size item you're making, you may be able to stop before you think you could. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of this. You'll have a lot of scrap. Now, of course, your scrap clay doesn't really go to waste. You could make beads or whatever. But if you're really just trying to whip up a quick project, you can stop when you've got coverage. So I'm going to stop here because I know I have enough to fill my hamsa. And I've got these ready to go for my next piece of clay. So I'm just going to set this aside and show you the other option for filling the space. So for this one, I think I'm going to be more careful and precise. So what I want to do here is put little pieces of the peacock pearl in between my leaves and make sort of a pattern that will show the background color and the leaves and this turquoise, or peacock is the name of the color, but it is kind of a turquoise. So I'm going to lay these on and leave more space in between them and randomly put these little dots of clay. So once you've filled the space the way you think you'd like it, now we're going to just press all this down because the challenge is going to be blending it into the background without having it be all bumpy. So you can use your finger to start and then find a rod. And you'll want to make sure that you roll it in both directions because you're going to be spreading the clay as it compresses. And if you only go in one direction, your clay will get distorted and the picture that you've made will be all smushed in one direction. And this feels pretty good without even going to the pasta machine, but I'm going to go through the pasta machine once in this direction and once in this direction to make sure that all my stretching happens in both directions like I was just showing you by turning it around. So now that I've been through the pasta machine, I have this beautiful piece of clay that's all flat and integrated, and there are no seams, and you can't feel where the clay was stuck on there. It's wonderful. So if you're careful, it's pretty easy technique to make something like this. Let's do the white one. This one's starting out much more bumpy. It's got a rougher surface because I stacked all those clay pieces up on top of each other. So I'm going to start the same way by using my finger to make sure that they're all pressed on there really well. And you can see I'm sort of rolling my finger while I do this. And that helps to flatten it out as well. And like before, we're going to make sure that we roll it in every direction, not only one direction. There's a lot more clay that we're flattening on this one. So you just need to take your time and be careful. But you can see it only takes a few rolls. Oops. And this one's almost flat as well. But I can see that it would like to go through the pasta machine the same way the other one did. That's what really finishes it off and makes it really, really flat. So I'm going to start by rolling it through in this direction because my leaves could widen a little bit on that. In this direction, I would be okay with that. So I'll show you what that looks like. So that is with one roll going along this direction. So kind of put it in at the bottom of this point, just because when I looked at the leaves, that's the direction I thought I could stretch it and it wouldn't matter to the design. Now, because these slices were piled on top of each other and thicker, I can see little areas where this is not completely, totally flat. And that really depends on whether you're going to sand it afterwards, whether you think you might put some liquid clay over your design, whatever you think you want to do. You have to decide if you're done here or if you want to roll it again. Now, I think, because I'm looking to get that much out of it, that what I'm okay with is cutting this off here and stacking it and rolling it one more time through my pasta machine, because I know what's going to happen is it's going to stretch the design and make it bigger, which will be fine because I have space to work with, and really force all of this clay down flat. So I'm going to be rolling it in the pasta machine in both directions. Once this way and once this way. And I'm not going to be bending it like this to put it through the pasta machine. I'm just rolling it flat. And here it is, all rolled out. And you can see how much it increased in size. So that's why I started with such a tiny little cane, because when you do this, you're going to drastically increase how large your cane pattern started. So this was little pieces like that, doubled in length, but they've also stretched out quite a bit. So make sure you start with a smaller piece of cane to make the patterns. So now you have veneers, and you can keep them in your veneer folder. I use a photo book to keep them between the plastic pages. And of course you can cut things out of them and make little designs. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Hamsa to make I might even be able to get a couple of them out of this piece now because it's so big. I'm just going to quickly show you how to use this. So this is a veneer, which means it's a sheet that you can use for decorating. I would not make something directly out of this because it's pretty thin. This is rolled to a number 4 on my pasta machine. But what you can do is create a base of clay that's going to fit your piece that you want to cut out and sandwich them together. Right, just press the one on top of the other. Get any air pockets out and make sure that it's on there good. And then you can cut it out. And you'll have a thicker piece. So in this case, I'm making a little ornament. And when I pop this out of here, my piece is thicker than this veneer was. And it has a little substance of its own, so now I can just put a hole for stringing. And if you want to do anything else to it to decorate it, of course, do that before you bake it. But the cane pattern itself is really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and bake these, and I hope that you had a great time and got a couple ideas and saw how easy it is to create this, what people call cane fabric or cane veneers with your polymer clay canes. And you can make a cane, you can buy canes from lots of different people on Etsy, and they're really fun to decorate with. So have a good time. If you want to share what you made or ask more questions about this technique, come on over to polymerclaytribe.com, where we have a community with almost 15,000 people who are ready to help you out and answer your questions. See you next time.